Yeah, you know what that means. The zero. Now this is the classic OG YouTube start music and stuff, the one that everyone doesn't like. But Tommy went with the throwback. Speaking of throwbacks, he's playing a nickelharpa, which is a folk instrument from Sweden, which confuses people like me who's from America, and we didn't see one until, I don't know, a couple years ago on a folk metal video. Right? True. Okay, also, you see all those people over there? Those are people giving hearts and loves because it's premiering right now, and I'm missing it. So for me to get into it, let me play my intro, and then we're going to get right into Tommy, joined by a friend of his from a band that now Tommy has said I need to check out. So I'm going to give you all that information here in a few seconds. Let's go. Yeah, there's a guy named Anders. He's from a band called Veonity. I need to check them out, so look for that reaction the next time Tommy drops the ball and doesn't release a video. What a weird move. Okay, nickelharpa. Okay, I mentioned last week when Tommy discovered one in his previous video. Oh my God, it's an ancient instrument, and so many of you are like, God, it's not ancient. It's not old. It was invented 1,000 years ago. The electric guitar was invented in 1929, 28, but still 1,000 years old, and it hasn't changed that much. For those who don't know what a nickelharpa is, you know what a violin is? Okay, good. Do you know what a cello is? Yeah. Do you know what a hurdy-gurdy is? Yeah. It's kind of all of that, but more. So think of a hurdy-gurdy with more buttons. But instead of playing it with a resonance drum that spins using a hand crank, it's played with a bow. And there's a bunch of keys on it along the neck instead of touching the fretboards with your fingers. And that actually puts little pads that come up and stop resonance of strings. This whole thing, right? It looks like a very complicated instrument, and it looks very complicated because, you know, why do things easy? Speaking of not doing anything easy, here we go. Tommy with a it's a metal cover of Vandraren, which is Nordman. Nordman, that's awesome. I don't have really why don't Cajuns have really cool names? Why do we have weird, dumb name? French? It's because we're French. That makes a lot of sense. Sucks. Come on, you've heard that sound before. If the hurdy-gurdy is synonymous with pirate music, right? And the sem-sem is identifiable with Japanese cultural music, right? Okay. Then the nickelharpa is the theme music to everything that's medieval. Knights and Nordic epics. The TV show Vikings, Monty Python, and the Holy Grail. I'm just saying, you know, when you hear the nickelharpa, you suddenly realize, wait, that's what makes that sound that I remember or I've heard before in some kind of folk epic? Yes. That's what makes that noise. Have you ever heard there's a bird that makes a noise that's in every movie that involves a jungle? And it's like yeah, that, right? The bird that makes that noise is extremely small with a giant beak. It's from Australia, and guess where it does not live? In jungles. See, you're learning a lot of stuff from me today. Now, here's the pop quiz for all of you. I just gave you a whole bunch of information. At least one of those facts I made up. Do you know which one it is? That is correct. The nickelharpa is not played in Monty Python.
Vandraren har ingenstans att gå när han kommit fram till slutet. som en färgar alla skuggor blå. Han är ensam kvar där ute. Långt där borta från en neonsfigård lyser värmen ut i natten. Väcker hungern i hans frusna kropp som har levt på luft och vatten. Det gör ont men går ändå. Du kan alltid vända om. Det gör ont men går ändå. Du är här och kom hit som en vandrare.
I want to get a closer look at that because I was told that, okay, so there's 4, 4, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 16 strings, but I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the tunable strings, which is this 4 and this 4, and then all of these are static, and those are like the chording ones. And then you see all these knobs in here and these sticks. They're not knobs. They're actually sticks that slide up. So when he pushes the different keys, those slide up and stop the resonance of the different string that they're on. Now here's what gets me really, really, really freaked out. I read, because I knew this was coming, I read up. You don't see a lot of these in music. In fact, the ability to play these things live, you're not going to see this being played by a lot of metal bands or even folk metal bands because they're very susceptible to going out of tune, mainly because of a lot of the different strings and also the static strings, which aren't easily adjusted. Almost all of them are completely made out of wood. So differences in temperature and humidity can change the tone and the keying and everything else. So a lot of times nickelharpas do not play well with other instruments live because the nickelharpa's tone can change where other instruments won't, depending upon the environmental conditions. So live playing is a little difficult with a nickelharpa. Apparently the same thing is true with a hurdy-gurdy. So when you have amazing instrumentationalists like Patty Gurdy on the hurdy-gurdy and other players of these amazing instruments, a lot of times they have to be controlled, or through the use of technology and modern building materials, a really good hurdy-gurdy that has a lot of carbon fiber and a lot of mechanical pieces that are high resiliency can be done where you can get a hurdy-gurdy that is, you can take it out the box, do a little tune, and go to town, no problem. But they're very, 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 very expensive. I know Patty Gurdy's green machine that she has, a very expensive machine. Also, you can buy a Samsam from Japan, you know, the one that's played with the fan or the paddle. It's the 3-string Centaur. But you can buy one for as little as $100, but it's out of tune in like 5 minutes. The ones that are played professionally by amazing artists can range up to $14,000. I don't even know how much a really good quality nickelharpa would cost to produce, but they cannot be cheap. It looks like one of the most expensive instruments you've ever seen because there's so many wooden parts, so many moving pieces, so many strings. And then, you know, people are like, well, what about a violin? A really good violin is hard to keep in tune unless it's a quality violin. And they're very expensive. See what I'm saying? So I understand why it is so iconic. It is iconic looking. It is iconic sounding. It is the sound of medieval folk music. It is the iconic sound that when you hear it, it is medieval folk music. However, modern takes and modern usages, I could see someone playing a nickelharpa in a castle or an estate, and they're playing this nickelharpa to put a vibe in a room for a feast back in, 1,000 years ago. And because the nickelharpa is the only instrument playing, it doesn't have to be in tune with anything else because by itself. Same thing with a harp. Harps, not easy to deal with. Many, many, many strings. And if it's a cheap piece of equipment, It will go out of tune very easily, and you can't hide it in a ensemble of instruments. I just think that stuff is kind of cool. Why doesn't that happen with like groups of cellos and groups of violins when you have string ensembles? Why don't they all fall out of tune? Because they're all tuning together, and cellos and violins are all made out of similar woods, similar structures internally, all to a certain standard. So if one goes out of tone, they're all kind of going out of tone together. So nobody really notices. Oh, I'm sorry. Tommy's doing a metal cover. I'm sorry. My bad. Sorry, Andrews. It's your first time here and I'm messing it up for you. My bad. I'll make it up to you later. Promise.
Klockan ringer för en ensam själ. Den har lånat röst av döden. Vill den illa eller vill den väl? När den räknar våra öden. Sluta tänka, det är svårt ändå. Du får ta en dag i taget. Vandraren har ingenstans att gå. Och man går det sista slaget. Det gör ont men går ändå. Du kan alltid vända om. Det gör ont men går ändå. Du är här och kom hit som en vandrare.
All right, that was pretty. I do like the resonant in his voice. His vocal tone is really, really cool. So we're gonna have to check out his band, 100%. Is we're doing the thanks? Nice. A really long thank you. 15 seconds of thanks. All right. Yeah. So there you go. Tommy playing a nickelharpa in a field somewhere. Cool. So Old School Nerd, where did you learn about resonances and instruments having problems in different temperatures and humidities and stuff like that? And I mean, you don't play the violin, you don't play the nickelharpa. How do you know about those things? That thing right there, that is my percussion performance studio djembe. Unlike my cajon, which is all wood, and that djembe up there is it is pygmy goat skin. It's a natural hide, and to tune it, you have to lace work it and pull tension on lace work, and it takes a long time. And it is highly susceptible to humidity and temperature. So I could play the tone on that thing, and it sound amazing. And the temperature change outside, or rain comes in, the humidity goes up 20%, and it sounds completely different because it's all natural materials. So with I'm assuming that if they really wanted to, they could make a carbon fiber nickelharpa with all carbon fiber pieces and resilient stringing and minimize the amount of soft woods used. I'm assuming most of the woods used are hardwoods, so they don't have as much flex with humidity and temperature. But that's the one thing I heard is you cannot buy a cheap nickelharpa and it sound good no matter how good you play. That goes with hurdy-gurdies and also with samsams. And even guitars. If you go buy a really cheap guitar, your beginner guitar, and you're trying to sound like Tommy Johansson on tour, you won't sound like Tommy Johansson on tour. There is a thing known as you get what you pay for, and craftsmanship and does matter when it comes to musical instruments. I would love to say that it doesn't, but here's the thing. If you want to learn to play an instrument, and I'm not saying go buy a nickelharpa. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is even the most simple instrument. If you want to create music, yes, go the cheap route. Buy something that's super cheap, doesn't sound good. Now lower your expectations. You're not going to be, playing lead for Majestica. That's fine. But play and see how you like creating music. And even if it doesn't sound good to you, it's okay. Just enjoy making the music. And if you find that you really love doing it, and you find that it's something that it brings you peace and balance in your life, then at that point, it just makes sense to make the investment on something that is quality. I bought the cheapest banjo I could find. I love my banjo. It does not sound good. It is a hollow back. But I found that if I put a rag inside the resonance bell, it doesn't have the loud noises, but I know that I'm playing like I want to play, and the sound's not, it's not Steve Martin or Roy Clark playing the banjo, but I enjoy playing the musical instrument. So yeah, to all those who see a nickelharpa and they're intimidated by it, yeah, me too. But Tommy's not afraid. This dude is, if you guys noticed, all the different, Tommy needs to just quit this whole thing and start a Swedish Feuerschwanz. What is Feuerschwanz? That's the German word is Feuerschwanz. What would be the word for that in Swedish? That's the band that Tommy needs to make, because apparently he's picking up nothing but folk instruments. He might as well just make a Swedish folk metal band. He should. He's got the accordion going on, the nickelharpa. He plays every type of guitar, keys, drums. He plays cards with chickens. He does it all. That's what I'm saying. All right, everybody. So there you go. Vandraren. I said that wrong. It's the Nordman. Metal cover by Tommy Johansson, featuring Anders from this band Veonity. I promised Tommy I would do this. Veonity. Scratch. There you go. So that's going to happen soon. Well, I promised Tommy I would. I keep my promises, dang it. I'm an honorable person. No, don't ask my wife. No, shut up. Leave her out of this. Thanks for watching, everybody. And if you enjoyed this video, give us a like. It really helps the channel grow. Also, if you want to subscribe, right over there. A big thank you to all my Patreons out there for everything you do. And if you want more content like this, check them out above. Remember, love one another, take care of each other. We're all stuck on this mud ball together. We'll see you later.